Uh-oh. I forgot my screen. It's touch screen. I can't do it like that. I always play with this live whenever I get on here. They got filters now. So while I wait for people to show up, I'm going to find me a nice little fun filter to use. I think I like pop. How do I get out of that? Hey, Angel, how are you? Yeah, I'm going to go with pop today. We're going to be popping. But yeah, what we're doing today is, for those of you who may not know who I am and may have been tagged by other people, my name is Tisha, or Lady T for some people. And basically what we're going to be doing today is talking about groups, hotel groups or cruise groups. And I have a lot of success with doing groups and cruises and things of that nature. Angel, I'm doing great because I am off my regular work until Tuesday and then spend one day at work to go to convention. But I'm here to answer any questions you might have concerning booking groups, what is a group, how to maintain a group, how to deal with a group that's getting on your last nerve, because it will happen, and anything else that you might actually have a question when it comes to groups. Hey, Rachel. I do want to say that the reason why most people, and the reason why I chose to work specifically a large part of my business with groups is because it's a good payout. You make a lot of good money quickly than trying to do a lot of little bit of checks. Like I told one of my partners, we was talking about travel and, the commissions and said, and I basically told her, if you book nickel and dime trips, you will get nickel and dime checks. So my goal is never to get nickel and dime checks. I focus a lot on groups. Now, for those that may not know my history, I do have a bachelor's degree in hospitality and event planning. And I also have been doing travel and planning events and groups and stuff since about 2006, 2007-ish. So I have a lot of experience with booking large groups and small groups. So the people that are watching, feel free at any time to type in a question that you have that is concerning groups. Some information, basically, a group for a hotel is generally about 10 to 15 rooms. It's not about people, which most travel agents get confused, and what most clients get confused. They believe that a group, if they have 8 people, they have a group, but you have 2 cabins or 2 rooms. For a hotel, they need about 10 cabins. I keep saying cabins, but 10 rooms before they'll start considering it a actual group. Rachel wants to know, how do you market for your groups to draw them in? Well, honestly, what I do is I post a lot of travel deals for groups. The cruise lines definitely will send you flyers, and you could create flyers in a lot of the back offices of the suppliers that you could specifically market to groups. Or you can do posts like, did you know that if you was to book a group with me at RIU or RIU, that every 11th person that comes will be free? Things like that to kind of like pull them in definitely does help with my marketing. Yeah, that's basically that's the simplest and easiest way to do it, is to use your suppliers to let them know. But another thing that I do, and if you are a part of a organization, a Mommy and Me group, if you are part of a church group, a youth group, let them know that you can help them with their annual trips. Let them know that when they go to their conferences, you can help book their rooms for everybody and help get them discounted rate to make everything a lot more seamlessly. That definitely also helps. For a cruise, you have to have about 8 cabins, 15 people. The reason why that they do it that way is because you can have 8 cabins and get generally 16 based off of 2 in a room, but you have 2 cabins with 4 people in a room, that's 8 people. They still want to have a minimum of 8 cabins when it comes to their version of a group. It's generally, I keep saying 8, we're on cruises. It's 8 cabins, 15 people. 8 cabins with a minimum of 15 people in it. So you're not doing 8 cabins and a whole lot of people. Kind of be a mixture of both of those two. Hey to Angie. That's my little Jamaican queen over there. She always in Jamaica. I know one of the questions that I was asked when I asked people to send me questions and things like that is, how do you deal with people that reach out to you? They want to do a group event with you, and then either you give them some information and they disappear, or they don't really seem like that they're serious. Well, what I do is when I find out that it's a group, I actually put that person to work, because when you're dealing with a group, you can't just go to FunJet or Vacation Express or anything like that and just start searching. You need to know information. You need to know what their dates are. Do they have alternate dates? How many people they're expecting? How many rooms do they need? What type of rooms do they need? You need to know if there's going to be any kids involved in the situation, because then I need to figure out what kind of hotel that you're doing. You also need to find out what type of activities are they looking to do, because that will also decide what type of venue that they will need, whether it's a hotel or a cruise line. So you got to kind of put them to work and get them invested into the conversation. Doing a group will be a lot more work than just doing like 4 on a trip somewhere or a couple retreat or something. Doing a group, especially when you start hitting numbers of 15, 16, 17 group rooms or cabins, it's a lot more work. I know that there is a delay with me talking and me seeing the questions. So as the questions pop up, I'll go ahead and answer them, because I think you see what I say maybe a few minutes after I'm actually saying it. So one of the things you want to do, I know somebody also asks about training, as far as the type of training that somebody can do to get proficient in groups. And it's a tricky question, because there's not a real set training to go to. If you're going, you need to first to figure out what your niche is going to be. If your niche is going to be in the cruise line, then I truly suggest, hey Julio, I truly suggest that you take the group's trainings within that cruise line. I also suggest you sign up with CLIA and take some of their group training under the CLIA and the meetings, and I think it's called meetings, and it's meetings and something. It's a new one that they just had. As far as from the hotel side, your best bet will be to take training with the suppliers, as far as how they do their bookings with their crew, with their groups, and what are they request and things of that nature. Now, if you are a client and you're looking to do a group and you don't know where to start, your best bet is to find a travel agent, only because travel agents are more versed in the aspect of putting a group together. They understand talking to the suppliers, whether it's directly with the hotel, with the supplier, with the cruise line, cars, whatever. They're a little bit more versed in what needs to happen. And it takes a lot of worry off you, because I know when you're actually doing a group and you're a client, not only do you have to deal with the travel aspects and the lodging, you still have to deal with what are you actually going to be doing while you're down there. Then you have to deal with hounding your group to pay you so you can pay the travel agent, and figuring out how all of that's going to go. So that's just taking something off of your chest and giving it to somebody else to monitor, basically. And then, you're helping somebody out, make some extra money, and then they're going to make sure that all your needs are taken care of. And depending on your relationship with your travel agent, your travel professional, they might actually travel with you and can become the coordinator while you're actually on your trip, whether you're on land or whether you're actually... I'm freezing. I can see myself freezing. But help you, guide you through everything that's going on and help you with your trip. So I highly suggest you do deal with a travel professional. Now, one of the things that I know some people may not, hey Chastity, some people may not agree with in the travel industry, but I generally do not book my groups through a supplier. I don't. I generally go directly to the hotel or directly to the cruise line. I don't go through VAX. Any of the suppliers in VAX, United, FunJet, Vacation Express, or anything like that. The reason why is because the concessions and the benefits are a lot better if you work directly with the hotel, directly with the cruise line, versus going through supplier, because then that's another person that you have to go through for them to get to the hotel. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or anything. It's just my preference. Now, for those of you who may not done direct booking, we're going to stick with a hotel for right now, may not have done direct booking with a hotel, you will get a contract that you're going to have to sign and review. It's very important that you understand how to read a contract. What you also need to understand is who's signing that contract, because whoever signs that contract is actually going to be the person who is going to be liable, legally liable for that event. So for instance, hey Brandy, I'll be out your way in about 2 months. For instance, if you sign a contract for a group for a bunch of hotel rooms, say 50 hotel rooms, and you have an attrition rate of 80% by a certain time, and you don't hit that attrition rate because you signed that contract, you are responsible for the excess rooms that need to be paid in order to meet that attrition, not your client. So that needs to be decided upon up and early, that your client needs to sign a contract. Now, this doesn't mean you won't get paid because they signed it. Inside the contract, it will state who the travel agent is and who the commission is going to be going to. Now, make sure that as a travel agent, regardless of any travel industry and industry company that you are with, you make sure that you have your IATA number and the company's name in that contract. You make sure that they have everything on file, because you don't want to give them your information without the IATA number, because then they can't pay you, and then it'll slow up your payment at the end. Reading a hotel contract can be very confusing sometimes. It does have a lawyer-like feel to it because it is a legal document. The only reason I have the ability to read it as well as I do is because, as I said, I have a bachelor's degree in hospitality management, and that was something I had to go through, was reading contracts and understanding contracts and being able to write the contract myself. So I understand a whole lot about the contracts, and because I've booked and signed so many of them, it's pretty easy for me. And I have reached out and helped other people who have came to me and said, hey, can you review this contract for me? I have no problem helping somebody read that legal document, just because, you know, it's a legal document. It has nothing about whether or not that contract is going to make me any money. But I'd rather you come to me and ask me to review it for you than you sign something and lock yourself into something that's going to screw you over in the end. That's just me personally. Another reason why I directly book with the hotel is because you have a lot more leeway when you work directly with the hotel. You have the ability to ask for more as far as the concessions. For those of you that don't know, a concession is similar to, it's basically freebies. So for instance, I have a hotel that I just booked for a client, and they have 60 rooms that they're going to be doing. For part of their concession that they're getting is that they're getting a hospitality suite at almost 45-50% of the price, because the regular price for this hospitality suite is, I think, $299 a night, and they're getting it for $199 a night. And that is a concession because they're bringing so many people to the hotel, and I have the hotel believing that they're going to re-sign this contract for a multiple year contract. So basically, they really want these services of my clients, and I'm sure they're going to sign that multiple year contract anyway, because it works with the client really well. Some of the concessions that you can get is, for every 50 room nights that you sell, they'll give you one free room night. Or you might be able, depending on how many rooms you're booking, you might even be able to get totally free rooms. So like, you can have a block of, say, 100 rooms for 7 nights. You might actually get a couple of free upgraded junior suite rooms at the price, hey Kima, at the price of the regular rate. Now, being the fact that this is your client's contract, regardless if you sign this contract or not, those rooms are not for you to sell. Those rooms are not for you to give away. Those rooms are not for you to go and say, I'm gonna take one of those rooms. Your client still needs to be aware of that contract. That your client actually should be the one signing these contracts, unless this is your specific group, i.e. you putting this trip together. So remember that all of these concessions that you're getting, they're not yours. Now, the best thing to put on a contract when you're dealing directly with a hotel is put your hotel rewards number on the contract. For instance, I'm doing a block for Marriott, and I'm doing 2 hotels. I'm going to be getting every single hotel rewards each night that they stay. So I have 200 rooms for 7 nights, and I'm going to get all those Marriott rewards. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? Hey, if I can figure out how to record and upload, I will. But I will be doing a blog with the notes on all of this, and I'm going to be doing this again tomorrow at 1 p.m. But feel free to ask any questions. We're currently talking about hotels and concessions and rewards. Now, I know for some people, booking a regular trip for 2 to, say, Jamaica is scary. So trying to book a group of 20 to Jamaica, you know, you're probably in the corner sucking on your thumb like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's not that bad. Let me give you some key tips. Hey, Shirley, that's my cousin. I'm going to give you some tips. Whether you're a client or the actual travel agent, Some of the things you need to deal with is only 1 to 2 people needs to be in contact with the travel agent. You do not need Uncle Bob, Uncle Sarah, and all these other people to do this. No, Latoya, you do not need to complete any kind of certifications at all to do group blocks. No certification needed. You can just go in there and set it up. And I'm gonna talk about that next. That's gonna be my next tip. But only have 1 or 2 people as your point of contact when you are doing a group, whether you do a hotel block or a cruise block. You only need 1 to 2 people. Otherwise, you're going to have too many people in your ear trying to change things. You don't know what is legit, what is that they're just because that's just what they want to do or whatever. So that's the first thing you need to do when you're dealing with the, oh, she used my full name, when you get it set up. Second, when you go ahead and you get the information, you know that they want to go to San Diego. It's a family reunion and they're going to need about 45 rooms on the coast, but they're not quite sure which hotels that they want, but they know they want a Marriott. Cool. What you do is go to Marriott, find one hotel. It honestly really doesn't matter. Just find a hotel that's in the San Diego area. Go to the meetings department on the website and submit an RFP, which is a request for proposal. You fill out the form, and then what'll happen is you'll select multiple hotels that you think might be an interest of your client. And what'll happen is the coordinator for that area will actually reach out to the hotels you selected, get the information, get the information, and that will become your point of contact until you figure out which hotel that you want to stay with. And then you'll get a whole bunch of proposals coming in that you can go over with your client. Hey, Keegan, you can figure out what you want to do with your client. And then that makes your work a lot easier because you don't have to then sit here and go to multiple sites and do a booking here, booking there, say, okay, do I want to do this? Do they want this hotel? Do they want that hotel? Because prior to doing your searching, you should have already asked who, what, when, where, and how. You should already know what kind of activities they want to do. You should already know, do they want to be near the water? Do they want to be near the pier? You should have all that information. And it's the same thing whether if you want to do a Marriott, if you want to do a Hilton. Now, if you get an organization that says, you know what, we're going to have our conference and, we're going to Seattle, Washington, but this is a conference. So, you're going to need 100, 200 rooms. You need to contact the CVB for that city, the Seattle CVB. Honestly, if you just type in the name of the city and CVB, you will find the website. And then what you do is you will send another proposal. You ask for another request for proposal. It'll go out to either the hotels you selected or it'll go out to all the hotels based off the budget plan that you have. Each CVP website is slightly different on how they do their RFPs. But the good thing about when you work with a CVB is you get a dedicated person that works with you from the beginning all the way to the end. So once you decided that you have your hotel, you now need shuttle services. They can actually select and help you find a good shuttle company to select to your clients. And then you make commission on the shuttle services. Hey, Tanya. Then on top of that, they can help you with any discount coupons. They can help you with any kind of incentives, any activities and things like that. CVB is a very underused tool for a lot of agents and a lot of clients, because a client can actually go to the CVB and they can do their research just as well and then go back to the client, to their travel agent and say, hey, I found this information, this is where I want to go. And you're good. It's a lot of information. It tells you, it's a wealth of information, trust me. And then as an agent, especially for New Orleans and for Las Vegas, if you go on there and you register your bookings, you can actually be placed into drawings for free trips. And for New Orleans, if you finish their training, you can actually do their fam and travel agent trips that they do during the summer and sometime during the wintertime. And if you want to do a site visit, a lot of the CVBs, if you let them know that you're coming, they will actually provide you with discounts to come out there, which is a good thing. So now you have your hotel and you have your contract that you want your client to sign. You have your client knows, oh yeah, the CVB, for some of them, yeah, they will. Some of them will give you welcome bags. You have to let them know that you want to do that about 3 months in advance, because what they'll do is they'll deliver the information directly to the people's rooms, and it will be stuff with stuff that you spoke about. Each CVB has different ideals and different setups of how they do it, but they'll do anything just to get people into their city, to be honest with you. So once you sit up there, hey Carla, once you sit up there and you have your contract is signed. What you need to do is, when you're dealing with a client, if your client signed the contract, you need to make sure that they have a copy of the signed contract that they signed and the hotel signed. It has to be countersigned. If your hotel contract is not countersigned, it is not legit. It will not be considered legal. So if something happens, you can come back and say, well, the hotel never signed it, so I didn't know they didn't agree, though we hope that doesn't happen. But you want to make sure that it's countersigned. You want to make sure that your client has a copy of the countersigned contract, and you maintain a copy of it. Not only do you need to upload it into your back office, because I'm sure many travel agencies, they want you to submit travel documents, just, tracking purposes, and in case something happens, they have the information on hand, but you want to keep it on hand too, because now you're part of this program. What you want to make sure that once you have all of that done is, and you figure out how everybody's going to be making the bookings, you need to figure out ways to get paid. So it just depends. For hotels, it's a lot easier because a lot of the hotels will create a free website for you with your client's information, whatever the party is or whatever, and they'll give you a booking code. So all you really have to do is to get your client to market it to their group. You are not responsible to market your client's trip unless you pre-agreed to do that in the beginning, because that's not your trip. That's their trip. So you want to make sure that they're marketing. Now, during this process, because for some groups, it could be 6 months until the travel. It could be a year or two before the travel. What you want to do is make sure you are keeping tabs with the group leaders. You want to make sure that every need that they have is taken care of. You need to ask them, do you need airfare? Do you need car rental services? Let's look at some excursions. How's everything going? Do a check-in. For me, generally what I do is in the beginning stages, while they're still prepping and preparing before a contract stage, I'll check in every couple of weeks, because for some trips, they may have to do a deposit for the hotel. For some hotels, there might be a hotel deposit, but that's generally for really large groups. Now, I'm really just talking about groups that have maybe 15 or less people, or 15 or something rooms. When you have larger groups and say going to an all-inclusive resort, there may be a deposit involved in order to hold it. And that's kind of up to the hotels. But for generally, there really isn't, but there's a case-by-case scenario. And I have a group that actually has to put a deposit down because the hotel is requiring for them to fully pay prior to going, which makes sense. So everything is going well. I would say generally by 6 months prior to the event, I'm in constant contact with my planner. I want to make sure that the attrition is not going to get hit. Attrition is basically saying that if you sign a contract that says I'm going to sell 100 rooms each night, then you'll have an 80% attrition. If you book less than 80 rooms, you'll be responsible for that gap in between if you do not let them go. And that's the key thing that I think a lot of clients and a lot of agents don't pay attention to. They'll sign a contract and be like, oh, great, look at this money I'm getting. Oh, and this great trip we're about to do. But you're not paying attention to make sure that you're filling your block. If you are working with an agent, it is your agent's responsibility to keep track of how many rooms are being booked and advising you whether or not you should be letting some rooms go so it doesn't have a problem in the end. And what some clients do is, what some clients don't understand, and I actually had a client that did this, but I never actually got a contract because I kind of got the feeling that they weren't really stable with their trip. What they want to do is they want you to go sign a contract, lock in a rate, and then they go find people to go on the trip. Now, if you don't get people booked into these rooms by a certain time, you can become responsible, whether it's you or the client. And when you're telling the hotel to hold these rooms at these special rates, you're stopping them from selling those rooms to other people. That's where that attrition comes in. So make sure you sign a contract when you know your group is ready to go. Now, for cruises is a little bit different. I highly suggest you take the group training and read the group documents for cruises before you start booking cruises. Group cruises, I should say. Because every cruise line is different. Carnival, Royal, Norwegian, those are the three right now that I'm doing my training with. They're very different. Just very different. But one thing that they all have in common is you need 8 cabins and a minimum of 15 people. You have to have that combination before they figure it out as a group. Now, with a group cruise, you definitely get a lower rate going as a group. Hey, Crystal, sorry. You definitely have better rates traveling as a group. You also have better amenities traveling as a group. Regardless if you are traveling with Carnival, Royal, Crystal, Cunard, MSC, you can get things like free cabins, free drink packages, free Wi-Fi, onboard credit. You can do fundraisers with your groups. There's a lot of aspects to it. Now, when you are a client and you're trying to book this group for yourself, you're thinking, oh, I could just do this myself. There's a lot you don't know. And I'm gonna be real honest. There's a lot a client doesn't understand and doesn't know when they're booking themselves as a group. You will do so much better to have a travel agent who is trained and has that time to call back and forth to get those questions that need to be answered, to make sure that you're getting the best rate, to make sure that you're getting the best trip. One of the things that I personally like doing group cruises only because it alleviates the issue of people wanting to see different things. It alleviates the issue of people not wanting to always be up under yourself. Because when you do a hotel group, unless that's specifically like for a convention or organization or something, they really don't have a choice because they're probably there for a meeting. But if it's a family or friends or an affinity group, which is people who have something in common but may not all know each other, they actually have a lot more to do on a cruise. They actually can be together for like breakfast and dinner, but do whatever they want during the day. A lot of the cruise lines also provide free meeting space, free AV, everything that you would kind of need. Even cruises, even if you was to go with a religious group, if you wanted to have church, you can do that. You have a lot more that you can do without spending as much money for your client. I'm gonna give you an example of a cruise group that I'm actually working on now. This cruise, don't forget, if you have questions, just type them in, and when I see them, I'll just answer them as I see them. If you are going to do, I'm doing a group cruise right now for a friend of mine, and it's a family reunion, and she's doing the best thing possible. She's contacting me 2 years in advance because the first problem is gonna be where you wanna go. You're gonna have clients that are gonna tell you when they want to cruise and give you exact dates. And that's not how cruising works. There may not be exact dates. So you have to work with them to figure out, okay, well, you want to go around these dates. Well, where do you want to go? Okay, these are the cruises that's available. You know, step by step, you figure out what you want to do. Then as you're talking to the customer, or should I say, you're listening to the client, because that's the key thing. You need to listen to the client. You need to find out who is the influencer in the group, basically the person that's going to influence other people to book with you and to book a specific itinerary and ship. May not always be the decider. So once you figured out a lot of those things, you kind of have better smooth sailing. But her trip is in 2 years. She basically wants to they want to go to Jamaica. That's the main thing. She wants to go to Jamaica. I said, okay, cool. We're going to go to Jamaica. Tell me about your family reunion. Basically what she told me is that she has a very large family, so they're going to need 50 to 100 cabins. I said, okay, cool, we can do that. She says, well, I have a large range of ages from my senior family members down to my younger little kids. Obviously, you know, we have kids, to the kids. I said, okay, so basically we need to make sure that we have a ship that has a wide range and also has accessible rooms. She was like, yeah. Then she was concerned about the fact that, you know, the seniors, their pricing, you know, because they're on a tighter budget than what we might be. I said, it's fine. If 55 and over, we can get them senior price. And she was like, great. Then she started talking about how a lot of them are families with multiple kids, and some of them are single parents with kids. I said, well, you know, your best bet will be to get a ship that has 2-3 bedroom villas and suites in it, because you can put multiple families in one room. Because what most clients don't realize is they think, you know, we need to go ahead and get an ocean view, balcony if the kids are older, and then we'll just all cram into one because we don't want to spend that much money, or we'll just get 2 cabins next door to each other. Most clients don't realize that the price for 2 ocean view rooms or 2 balcony rooms is the same price as a junior suite. So why spend more money for 2 smaller spaces when you can spend maybe a little bit to the same amount of money and get something that's even bigger? So started learning more about the family. They want to do a lot of activities. I said, okay, you want to do a lot of things on the ship as well. She was like, yeah. She gave me a list of different things that she wants to do, things that the family is interested in. I said, oh, okay, well, you're not going on Carnival. And she was like, why not? I said, Carnival doesn't have enough to keep your family's attention. I was being real honest with her. So we kind of just kept talking and talking. And she told me how, a lot of the things that they want is leading really towards suites, leading towards great kids programs with the flexibility to do whatever they want. They need the flexibility to be able to eat whenever they want, because she doesn't want to have to eat the dinner at the same time all the time, especially days you're coming back from port. No one really likes coming back from port and having to rush to dinner a lot of the time, especially when you have a later port. So, Norwegian is her choice. Norwegian is a freestyle ship. So what I did was, and this is a suggestion for all of my travel agents that are on here, send videos and pictures to the person you're talking to so they can see what the ship is like. Because a lot of times people have never cruised before, or they haven't cruised with this cruise line. Send them a video. And that's what I did. I posted a video of the Haven for Norwegian on her timeline, not only so she can see it, but so her family can see it. Because, they're all friends. But one of the benefits of booking a group, besides everything else I've said, is a lower deposit. Deposits are generally $50 per person to book a group cruise versus $250 to $500 per cabin to hold a cabin. So for $50, you can get people in, and for a large group, it's a lot easier to tell them, hey, I need $50 to $100 to lock you in, versus saying, hey, I need $250. When you have a group cruise, for her group cruise, because the reason why I'm really suggesting Norwegian is because she needs a drink package. And she was trying to figure out, well, how much is this going to cost? I said, well, if you book 14 cabins, I can get you a free drink package, and I can get you, each cabin will be able to get 20 photos as part of the trip. So if she books 50 cabins at minimum, every cabin is getting 20 pictures. Imagine the pictures that they're going to get at the end of their family reunion. So benefits for the travel agent. Well, no, we're going to still stick with the client because there's something else. For the client, you have the free cabins. For Norwegian, for every 14 cabins you sell, they give you 2 free cabins or 1 free cabin, and then you get to choose two freestyle items from a list of things that they have. One of the best benefits that you can get on every single cruise is to give your trip planner their cabin for free. That is such an incentive to tell them, hey, you did all of this work. You shouldn't have to pay for your cruise. All you have to pay for is taxes and fees. Garissa, you are right. It's good tip to post videos of the cruise ship, of the cabin. You can create a lot of the cruise lines allow you to create flyers in the back office, so you can customize a flyer that she can pass out or he can pass out to the group so they can get a better understanding of what's going on, posted up on their wall. Now, as a travel agent, some of the benefits obviously is increased commission, obviously. But it could be a trip for you because you might like where they're going. You might want to go yourself. An increased benefit is because, using my example, let's just say I have 50 cabins at about 100 people. I just potentially introduced myself to 100 new clients. And it might be a little bit more work, but it's actually cheaper to, retain a customer than it is to try to find a new one. So I'd rather do all this work to get their business now so that I can do their family reunion every 2 years. And then as you're doing this, as you're booking these trips on the cruise line, you're getting the training, because I'm guaranteeing you're going to have to go through training. I went through training just before she talked to me, and I'm continuing to go through training as I'm talking to her. Like I said, if you have questions, just type them in and I'll answer them as I see them, as they scroll up. There's a lot of add-on things that people don't think about when they take a cruise versus doing a group at a resort. Now, don't get it wrong. Going to a resort is fun, especially when you're in the islands, overseas, it's all inclusive. You're all having fun. But people seem to think that when you take a group cruise, you're missing out, and you're really not. Because a lot of cruise lines will, add air. So your clients can prepay their air prior to getting on the ship. So they don't have to worry about looking for flights. It's already done. And for a lot of the cruise lines, they will try to put them on the same flight. Now, granted, you can't do flight more than 300 days prior to the ship leaving. I mean, prior to the date, because that's just airline rules. But think about that as a selling tool to tell a client, hey, you know, you don't have to worry about flight. We can add flight into it later, and everybody will fly from the same location. Wherever location they are, they'll fly together. We'll put them all on the same flight to the best of our ability. You know, it's little things like that. For a client aspect, things that you may not realize is that, like I asked my client, do you plan on having shirts for your family reunion? And she was like, yeah, she's going to make some shirts and da-da-da-da. I said, so would you like the possibility of having the shirts delivered to each person's cabin? Which is a possibility because her group is so large that working with a special events coordinator with a cruise line, you would have the items shipped early. And what happens is they'll deliver the items to the cabins the day that they're leaving. They may not get it until maybe later in the day because there's a lot going on before a ship leaves. But the whole idea of having stuff delivered and waiting for them. You know, if you wanted to deliver a welcome note, that's even possible too, to have a welcome note placed in every single cabin and give it a little bit more personalization. Yeah. Now, when you're dealing with a cruise and dealing with a group, the hardest part is going to be tracking. Because when people make their payments, granted, they can make their payments directly to you when you get them to sign a credit card authorization form and put that on file. That's very important. And you can make the payments to the cruise line, but you need to be able to keep track of who's making payments, when they're making payments, who are they rooming with, and then their ages, emergency contact, information that you need in order to put into the cabin. So that's going to be one of the harder parts about doing a cruise. When you're booking them, you're not actually booking them, you're reserving space, and then later on you actually berth a cabin. There's a lot of advantages to doing groups, period. I'm actually working on, I want to say 5 groups right now over the next 2 years. And I'm hoping for 2 of them to be recurring. As an agent, the reason why I choose and suggest doing groups is because, yes, it might be a lot of work up front, but if you do it again the next year, you have all the information already done. And it's guaranteed, it's a guaranteed commission during that quarter, you know, those 3 to 4 months afterwards. And then from a client's aspect, when you sign up and work with a travel agent, they already know everything about your group. They know the quirks. They know what you don't want, what you do need. So all you have to say is, hey, so-and-so, we're ready to start planning for next year or for the next 2 years. You already have a rapport going. So it makes it easier. Excuse me. Now, I know suppliers definitely, group trips to Dubai. Honestly, I honestly suggest when you go to foreign places like that to do groups. It's just, to me, it's just a whole safety factor than versus going by yourself. Now, a lot of our suppliers have options where they'll have a trip put together for you. And you can try to sell that idea to a client if you want to, you know, whether it's Dubai, Italy, China, Cuba, Brazil, doesn't really matter. It could be Texas. A package to go be a cowboy for a week. Marketing wise, it's a lot easier if you already have a group or somebody that is going to spearhead that marketing for you. So if you are in like I said before, a church group, you have kids that are in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, you have a swimming group, you're in a fraternity, a sorority, or anything of that nature, a single moms group, you know, those are what we consider an affinity group because you want to introduce the idea to them and then have them turn around. Yes, Kimberly. Yes, you can. Yes, Sarah. You do not have to. We do local. You don't have to always be overseas or international. A destination does not necessarily mean Jamaica, Cuba, or anything like that. A destination is just a place. So if you wanted to have a family reunion hotel block in San Antonio, Texas, we can do a hotel block in San Antonio, Texas for you. It doesn't matter. It'll be the same similar procedures with the same benefits and the same amenities that come along with it. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of clients have, is that agents only do international, that we only deal with the Caribbean and honeymoons in Europe and all those fancy places. One of the groups I'm booking, they're going to Florida for a double graduation gift. So a destination is kind of anywhere, but I do suggest that if it's a family reunion and it's going to be a very large group and you need food and beverage items as well, to try to reach out to somebody to help you as soon as possible, because, and depending on the time of the year, if it's a busy season for that area that you're trying to go to, you may not have as many choices, because people will book early and people will do repeat bookings, whereas the event's over tomorrow and they already have their contract drawn for the next year, or if it's biannual, every 2 years. So, but no, definitely. If you have questions, please write them out. No question is incorrect. I'm gonna stay on here about another 10 more minutes, and then I will be doing this again tomorrow at 1 p.m. because I know for this time, this might be too late for some people, but I know I have some friends and family on the West Coast side and down in Hawaii, and I wanted to be able to give them a time that would kind of work with their schedule. But yeah. As far as, I'm trying to think of what other tidbits that I can give you about booking groups. Definitely get some Motrin. I'm not going to lie. And I mean, to my clients, I love my clients, but it could be a headache. Yes, DMV is, yes. DMV is very, very bad because there is a lot of conventions and conferences, but if you plan off season, basically, if you plan more towards the fall and early spring, maybe I would say November to April, you're doing a lot better than coming out here, say May, June through September, because that's when a lot of conferences come out here. A lot of conferences are held between like May and July. And that's when they'll be everywhere around the country, but definitely in the DMV area. If you're trying to be in DC period, you also have a lot of school trips and camps that come out to see the all the different museums and the Smithsonian's and things like that. My suggestion is, if you do plan to come to the DMV area for a family reunion, to try to stay in Maryland or Alexandria or Arlington type area. Stay on the outskirts, because it'll actually be cheaper for the family versus trying to be in DC. And there's enough hotels that are near train stations, or might even be able to provide a shuttle service. Or that's something that could be actually worked out if you have enough people to have a shuttle to take you to a train station, or maybe getting a motor coach to do a tour or something like that. But that's just mine. How do we send a credit card authorization to clients online? That was Sandra Bailey's question. And basically, every travel agency is different, but I know for mine, we actually have the form online in our back office. I would actually check with your travel agent's back office to see if they already have one designed, and just use theirs and send it to them, because it should be something that's downloadable. Not everybody's is something that can be fillable, where you can fill it out online. What I ask for my clients to do is to print it out, fill it out, give me a hard signature, and scan it back. I honestly rather have a hard signature than just somebody typing their name into the paper, unless it's like it's a secure signature. Kimberly's asking about the new MGM. Now, the new MGM is going to be real nice. Now, once the new MGM opens up, I'll be honest with you, Kimberly, if you want to do something in a new MGM, you need to start talking to us now, because I know that they're getting booked up solid, because I've already heard whispers that there's going to be some serious fights up in there. Like how they do in Vegas, they're coming to the DMV. There's going to be some really nice stuff in there, and people are already trying to book in there. So honestly, if you want to get to the MGM, even if your family reunion is not for like another year or so, you definitely need to start looking into that now. And trust me, I'm on the MGM site asking, so when are you going to open? They said that they're going to open at the in the last quarter, but they didn't specify if it was a fiscal year or a calendar year. Fiscal years begin October 1st. Calendar years end December 31st. So I'm trying to figure out which fiscal year they talking about. Tansy wants to know what kind of classes or courses would I suggest for training to prepare us for booking groups. If you're going to book cruises, I suggest taking the group cruise trainings for the specific cruise lines, for one. For two, I would suggest going to CLIA and doing any group cruisings that they have. Also, what I would do is also look at, hey Marie, that's my cousin too. Hey Tracy, what I suggest you do for hotels, honestly, is to review their websites. I know Marriott has the Marriott Excellence, but there's also a Marriott site for agents that you can log in with your IATA number. And there is some training and there is some information there as well. And the best one you can have is to connect with somebody who has the experience and booking groups. Talk to them about what they do, what do they find successful. And that's really the best way that you can do it, because I haven't really seen a set course for groups, because every supplier, every hotel, every cruise line does it differently. But some of the things that are staples is concessions and not the recessions, trying to rhyme over here, attritions, and learning how to read the contracts and things of that nature. And if you really have questions, call up the hotel and ask them. They'll gladly work with you because they want the business. Kimberly wants to know, yes, I will say yes. An agent, when you're negotiating a package for a hotel block, you can include food and beverage with your room blocks. That is part of it. You can do food and beverage. You can do hotels. You can do just hotels. You can do just food and beverage and meeting space. You can do a whole combination of that. And there's also a possibility of earning commission as an agent from all of that. I'm not sure if they've opened up for bookings yet. The last time I checked the website, they have not opened up for bookings, but there's always a way to find out. I will call the number that's on the MGM National Harbor site and ask them, can we start booking? I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it in about a month, but I know that they're saying that it was coming soon. But if you have a group that wants to come there, definitely call up the number and say, well, look, I have a group that's looking to come up and I want to get started on making those reservations and setting things up. What can I do? Because there's people working there. I'm seeing the pictures of everybody graduating. So yes, you can. And this is for anybody. And if you was to do an international, say we're going to Jamaica or Hawaii, well, Hawaii is not international, or Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's not international either. But you know what I'm trying to say. You can include food and beverage. And when you do a cruise, you can do the same thing. Food and beverage, even though it is all inclusive on a cruise, or your food is included, but you can set up private dinners for your groups. Every cruise line is different on the number. It's based off the numbers you have, but you can also do it on a cruise line as well. Got my water. And for those of you who are trying to figure out, do you think they will do? Yes, I think they will. Honestly, I think they're going to do good pre-sales, because for the MGM and the DMV area is opening really soon. And they want to make sure that they are making a good impression on the community, because for this area, for those who probably don't know, we had to go through a whole voting process just to allow gambling into the Prince George's County and what they was going to be responsible for. I think that they're going to have some great rates to get people in, because they want people to come in. They want people to start talking about it. They want people to bring their business. Like, there's going to be a sports bar in there, and it's nice. They're also going to have 2 nightlife spots inside, which in that area, because it's going to be a National Harbor, and we all know National Harbor itself does not really have a nightlife at all outside of Cadillac Ranch and this other restaurant. They're going to have actual events going on. They're going to have full-fledged shopping. MGM is going to be a destination. It's not just going to be a hotel. There's going to be food places. There's going to be shopping. There's going to be theater shows, and they're going to be giving back to the community. But they will have some good pre-sale rates. And I'll tell you now, if you're not an MGM Grand card holder, the little rewards thing, sign up now, because they're going to give them benefits first. That's something else I did mention earlier. Whether you're a client or not, you should all be registered for hotel rewards, cruise line rewards, because as a client, when you go, obviously every time you book, you get rewards. So you want to do that because that earns you free stuff. And for some of them, you could set it up for when you fly. Yeah, I don't think Kimberly was saying she wish Centennial could be there. I don't think that's going to happen. And there's reasons behind that we could talk offline about. But definitely if you fly a certain airline often, sign up for their rewards so you can get points every time you fly. As an agent, did you know, and as a client, did you know that when you book your client for a flight and hotel, that if they have a rewards number, say you book them American Airlines, if they have an American Airlines rewards number, you can put it on their booking and they'll get the points for it? Most people don't realize that. So if anybody else has any other questions, and don't be afraid for my client, my agents that are on here, regardless of which agency that you are with and representing the travel life, don't be afraid to team up with other agents in your company for the same goal. For instance, I have a trip to Dubai. If I have an agent that says, you know what, where did you get that information from? I want to do it too. Let's do it together. We can book separately and still work together. The trip that I'm doing for New Orleans with my Saras, I'm working with three other agents in the business. One of the things that I try to let people know that in the travel business is that we're here to help everybody. It's not just help yourself, but you help the other people in the business. You want to make sure that you're providing the best for your clients. And sometimes, you have to work with other people because that's how you learn. If there are no more questions, because I'm actually on a lot longer than I thought I was going to be, but I helped a lot of people out. I hope that I answered a lot of questions. If there was some questions that you didn't ask or didn't want to ask on the live, you can always shoot me a message on Facebook. If you have my number, give me a text, because since tomorrow's my Friday and I don't have to go to work, I'm going to be up. I don't have to go to bed early like a little kid. But I'll definitely help any agent that has questions. And I'll definitely work with any client that might have some general questions about groups, how to book a group, how to go about it, figure out if they are a group. You're welcome, Tansy. I'm saying a lot. I know that's my bad word. I got to stop saying so much. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good Thursday. I hope everybody has a safe holiday. And for quite a few people on here, I'm going to see you on Wednesday. Woohoo! Going to convention. I can't wait. I'm packed. Almost. I ain't gonna lie. I'm almost packed. Packing is the hardest part. But yeah, I'm going to see everybody in convention. I'm going to be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. If anybody has any questions about groups, about group cruises, whether you're a client trying to figure out how the heck do I get started versus an agent that says, oh Lord, I said I'm going to do a group and now what? I'm here for you. Anytime you need me. Well, almost anytime. Let me not say that. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good night. Enjoy your day. If you have to go to work, be safe. If you're in the Florida area, be extra safe. If you're in Virginia, be extra safe because the weather is getting bad in that area. I know I've seen the posts from my Floridians. They talking about they drinking their food together. I need you to board something up and be safe. I need you to be there tomorrow, okay? Kimberly says it's my telework day. I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, today's my telework day and I won't be back tomorrow. But yeah, everyone be safe, be fun, be happy, enjoy, travel, live the life.